I now call the Crosby Township Board of Trustees meeting to order for March 10th, 2025. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Lohman?
Here.
Mr. Hyab? Here. Mr. Heiss?
Here.
Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held February 10th, 2025.
And that'll be as corrected. I already got some input from Mr. Heiss and Mr. Lohman, which whose corrections I've already noted on a final copy. Those corrections would be, since the older version is what was put out publicly, it was adding the words "as corrected" on approval of regular meeting previous month's regular meeting minutes, switching the names of Heiss and Hyab, and approval to pay the bills, and I had the wrong. I had February instead of March at the very end when the next regular business meeting was. I think that was it. But those corrections have already been made.
I move we accept the minutes as corrected.
I second it.
Roll call.
Lohman?
Yes.
Hyam?
Yes.
Heiss?
Yes.
I have the final copy there as corrected.
Approval to pay the bills as have been presented over the past month.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Lohman?
Yes.
Hyam?
Yes.
Heiss?
Yes.
Correspondence, me. The Butler Rural Electric Co-op is not having a meeting this year in April due to the cost. So they're doing a virtual meeting on April 24th. And they will determine after that what they will do in 2026. And on that note, they are having a golf outing on August 1st at Indian Ridge Golf Course in Oxford.
When is that?
August 1st at 8 a.m. There's a Hamilton County Small Business Day, Monday, May 12th from 8 to 1 at the Cintas Center. I think this is like the third year they've done that. Just people either in small businesses or thinking about starting one. It's just advice and probably people there to help you out with ideas. West Jet is April 4th at 5:30 in Miami Town by the firehouse. It's a public meeting. I will be there. And then the Hamilton County Board of Health District Advisory meeting is tomorrow at noon, and I will be at that. It's at on William Howard Taft. There's a meeting to address property tax issues through Hamilton County by the Hamilton County Auditor's Office, April 9th in Blue Ash at 2:30 in the afternoon. I think they're trying to push some ideas like for seniors and that, like whatever property tax you're paying when, like at a certain age would be the same you would pay like the rest of the time they just got some different ideas to try to help people, and I think especially seniors that are having a hard time paying property taxes. And then I think everybody saw that stormwater district. I'll sign that if that's all right. And Brenda said she would email it back to him. We do that every year. It's
Do you need a copy?
No, I have it.
Are you talking about that document?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take that off my list.
And then that Energy Alliance, I was gonna do that maybe under new business. So that's all I have. Dennis?
Okay, I responded to the boundary and annexation survey. I pulled up the map, and there was no changes from the last time, so I approved it and sent it back. Brenda got a call from Bev Stamper on Dick Road about the truck traffic, and she lost her mailbox a couple times because the trucks are cutting that corner, and she's right on the corner.
What road?
Dick Road. So I went over and looked at it, and there's just, because they got Edgewood closed, it's a alternate route for the concrete trucks and the dump trucks to go up through there. And she was thinking that some of those trucks were going a little fast, and so she would appreciate if maybe a detail would kind of look at it up there once in a while to make sure that the trucks aren't over the speed limit that much. Dick Road between Oxford and Edgewood. And then she was wanting to know if that was going to be repaved. So I called up the Hamilton County Engineer's office, and Dick Road and Edgewood, parts of Edgewood, are going to be repaved this summer. So there's two parts of Dick Road. I'm assuming it's the part that I was asking him about. So it's getting pretty rough, and so they're going to be repaving it. So that's good news.
I hope they wait till the end of June, after they reopen.
Oh,
If
I'm
that's-
assuming that's when it'll happen,
Yeah.
because then they'll take up where probably Harrison quit because of the sewer installation and take it from there.
Going.
Yeah. And then I contacted Jack Nicholson from the U.S. Federal Contractor Registration Office. I guess Jamie was doing some research on some of the, bringing herself up to date, and that tripped, and he thought we needed to get a new DUNS number for construction, and so I told him we had no new construction going on, so that put the fire out there, and that's pretty much all I have.
Where was he from?
Huh?
Where was he from?
He was from the U.S. Federal Contractor Registration Office. And we did have to get a DUNS number when we put the shelter in out there because we were using federal funds. And so I knew about it, but he was thinking we were going to do something new, and I had to tell him we didn't have anything in the works because the fire department is with our own funds. So that's all I have.
All right, thanks, Dennis. Chuck?
Yeah, while you're talking about the sheriff's department, I live on Oxford Road. With Dick Road come in, they trimmed those trees, I don't know how many years ago. A lot of people got stopped there. They get kind of look down the road and go right through it. So that happened pretty much. So I guess maybe on the new business, they want Ohio Township Association want us to pass a resolution to support EC2. So, yeah, bring it up on the new business.
Yeah.
Okay. I really don't have anything else. They got a meeting this Friday at America 250. I think Bernie's going to that. So I don't have anything else. So is that revolution?
All right, thanks, Chuck.
Can you hang on just a second?
How's your secretary doing? She getting better?
Close that, get that sun out of your eyes.
She didn't look too good when I saw her. That's she.
All right, Sheriff Lieutenant DePaoli.
All right, good evening, everybody. Lieutenant Jeremy DePaoli, Hamilton County Sheriff's Office. I've got the reports for both January and February. Again, not a whole lot going on. That's the way we like it, I think. January, there were 2 criminal reports, one for a telecommunications fraud. Thanks. McKenzie Landscaping was defrauded in a elaborate ruse out of $44,000. And there was a criminal damaging on the 10th of January over on Jacob Drive. Somebody drove a nail through the sidewall of the victim's 2014 Kia Forte in the tire, nail through the sidewall. No suspects on that one. February reports, we had a B&E attempt / vandalism over at Sam's on the 16th of February. That was 7011 New Haven. 13-year-old kid out at 1:30 in the morning, throwing rocks, all sorts of other nonsense at the front door there, kicking the door and throwing rocks at it. I guess it never triggered the alarm. Deputy Adam Kroger responded the next morning for the report, using some of that surveillance video. He was able to figure out who the kid was. So 13-year-old confessed to the crime and went to juvenile detention. Disseminating matter harmful to juveniles on the 18th of February. There was a 13-year-old victim who her friend took a photograph of her when her shirt was off while she was changing clothes in her bedroom. And since then, that circulated all around on Instagram. Some other kids putting that out there. So that's being looked into. One domestic violence on Fernald Drive on the 20th of February. Male victim, I guess having a disagreement with his common-law wife about her drinking. Her response was to headbutt him in the nose. She went to jail. And one theft reported at 9560 Hamilton Cleves on the 25th of February. Press Construction had a lot of tools removed from a unlocked trailer on the job site. So once again, lock your stuff up. Tends to keep your stuff safer. Non-criminal reports, there were three in January, 4 in February. Those would be things of medical or fire nature, fire department responses. Criminal investigations, there were 2 cases assigned from Crosby Township in January to the CIS, and neither of those were closed by the end of the month. And 2 also assigned to CIS during February. As of the writing of these reports, neither of those were closed either at that point. Traffic crashes. 5 in January, 7 in February, so pretty consistent there. Dispatch report. 80 calls for service in January and 84 in February, so again, pretty consistent there. DVERT, the Domestic Violence Enhanced Response Team, that's run in conjunction with Women Helping Women. There were no incidents requiring a response in January, and they were summoned for the domestic violence issue in February. However, that gentleman did not want their services. So that is all I have. Any questions, comments?
No.
Nothing.
No, the other day, what was that? Friday, cause it was right at 3:30. There was a dump truck came up over the hill on New Haven Road, and we went past my house. I just happened to look up, and the tailgate was loose. It had came out about that far, and he started dropping mud down through the road. So I had to go down the road for something, and when I got down to Crosby Elementary, there was a big pile on the road. So I got a hold of engineer's office, and they sent a crew out, and they cleaned up the mud. But I don't know where he's going, all the dirt's going, but he went down Dry Fork Road. I don't know where they're going, but they're hauling he was on the road again today. So, but that was about the only thing that really slowed things down a little bit when they got down there to Crosby, because it was all the way across the entire lane.
If that's the worst natural disaster we have.
Yeah,
month of
I know.
February-
It's,
For the month of March.
other than that, it's
I'll
been pretty
take it.
quiet. So, yeah, we'll take it.
All day long. You got real chaos going on other places, cats and dogs living together. I mean, just disasters going on everywhere. We'll take it. So,
Used to be probably manure spreaders, now it's mud.
Yep.
I know they got a lot of fill dirt going down into Addiston. I don't know. I think that's coming from Kentucky, but they may have started contracting that down there too. There's old ball fields down there. They're leveling those off, and it's going to be a secure or a safe and security joint, something like that. Could be where they were headed. I don't know. But anyway, that's all I have. Anybody else? Well,
Thank you.
you are an easy crowd. I appreciate it. I must be moving on. I have another meeting over in Lincoln Heights.
Yeah, don't say that. Next time you come back, it'll be ugly.
Good night. Public at large, did you want to get up and talk?
My name's Roy Meyer.
Just go up there and say your name and address, please.
My name's Roy Meyer, live at 8102 New Haven. I also own a commercial building on Long Street in New Baltimore. Not really a complaint. I just concerned with a lot more traffic due to building in both our township and surrounding townships. I don't see a lot of infrastructure that's keeping up with all the traffic. There is one turn lane going in at the new, convenience store at New Haven and 128, but that whole intersection needs to have a turn lane on each side of the road, not just for the
Right.
convenience store.
It gets blocked up pretty fast.
I mean, everybody uses Blue Rock to New Haven to get to these new neighborhoods here, and there's just the county hasn't put any infrastructure thoughts into this area, and Fort Scott's been there since 2007. Same with a lot of whitewater trails of whitewater, and you would know better than I would what's going on with the county as for their plans to upgrade some infrastructure such as turn lanes and traffic lights.
It's something I think it's something that needs to be addressed, because with the new housing that's gone in down here in the last 3 years, we've had a big increase in traffic, and 128 intersection is becoming a problem. So I can call up my contact at the Hamilton County Engineer's Office, since that's a state route and a county road, and see what kind of feedback I get. A while back, and I don't know how long, they had a study to see if they wanted to, the thought was a 4-lane road all the way to Harrison. And nobody liked that idea. And so when they repaved it, they did widen this road in areas where it was narrow. So we did get the pavement width a little wider, because there was places going down New Haven Road, if 2 trucks passed, they almost changed mirrors.
Well, that,
So,
and they allowed for some room for bicycles, if I remember right.
yeah, so, you know, that was before a lot of this stuff went in down here. So I'll get a hold of them.
And then, well, and, you know, it's just the increase in traffic. I just live up from where you live, and passing lane starts at Crosby,
Yeah,
and then just towards, you know, past your house. And I've looked this way and, you know, went to pull out, and here I am head on with somebody that's passing another car in my lane. So, I mean, this used to be rural area more, and passing was a little more, you know, one that's crowded.
and before they repaved the road and put the new striping down, there was a double yellow line going all the way up to the top of that crest. So they took that all out when they restriped it. So, yeah, we're facing a lot of traffic anymore. And then you can tell when 74 has a shutdown, we got everybody coming through New Haven Road then, trucks and cars alike. So I'll take and get a hold of my contact and put a bug in their ear and see what kind of a response I get.
This is just maybe a safety suggestion for the zoning department, that when somebody puts in an application for a swimming pool, that you require that they have CPR training. I know that from, I had to put a pool in for somebody years ago, and a city required that, so.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, thanks for coming.
There's that sports center too now in Hamilton, and 128, I know, gets a lot of traffic from that because.
They talked about making that 4-lane from 74.
Oh, 128.
Nothing stays the same forever. That's for sure.
Thanks. Anybody else? All right, Alan, you're up. Legal.
No report.
No report.
Well, you were gone last month, so you gotta have something.
Nothing to report.
Well, you went through the zoning
I figured-
policy book.
Yeah, I figured you were going to bring that up, so.
Well, you got to
You
talk
want me
about
to report on the
something.
fact that I reviewed it?
Yeah.
Okay. I reviewed the policy manual, and Dennis, you're going to submit it to,
Everybody just got an updated copy on what we had, so I'm going to give them some time to review it. And then at the next meeting, I would think that we would be in a position to adopt the new policy manual. I was trying to think if there was something else I was going to ask you. I guess there's not.
that's all I have.
Thanks, Alan. Maintenance, Jim.
Well, where do you want to start? Well, we removed stove one more time, then we worked on the mowers. We removed plows and some of the snow stuff off this week. Replaced some lights in here. And I showed Dennis, we used the last ballast that we had here already for these lights in this building. And these are fluorescent lights, and some of these brighter ones you see in the building are, I don't know if there's any in here, are LEDs or in the hallway and that. We'd be better off replacing them. These go bad, replace them with LEDs, but it kind of looks funny because you have a real bright one and you have a dull one. So Dennis suggested maybe getting a price and replacing all of the LEDs anyway, because they're cheaper to run. A lot of places have done that, so that's something you got to think about. We replaced the bulbs, all the bulbs that were burnt out on the bridge and the shelters. We installed the knock box out here for the fire department in the wall there. And picking up trash, I don't know if you can keep up with it.
It keeps showing up.
But I've been driving around, I went to Columbus and all that, and driving around Columbus and driving around other townships around here. I think we got the cleanest township around now.
Except that mud on the road. It was in front of my house, too.
Yeah,
There was blobs of it.
Yeah,
yeah, that mud went all the way down past the school.
yeah.
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 Yes, the high school the other way.
And then I met with the blacktop contractors about paving the roads over Fort Scott. I met with Dave Stale on the, putting fence up at the two cemeteries in Fernald and, Town Hall. I met with Corcoran Harness, our shop heater went bad over here at the maintenance building. We had to replace that. They did that today, they got it done today. I met it with Ed Brader about painting the hallway, Brader Brothers Painting. We have another problem that all these windows are only ones that are really good, is the ones that don't make a difference because they're under a roof, but all the windows, all the weep holes have been caulked shut. The water's supposed to go in them and drain down and come out the weep holes on the bottom. All Brenda's windows have been caulked shut since day one the building was built. You can tell that plain as day. So I contacted Jeremiah, and Rick was with me too one day. And Jeremiah from, Lawhorn, from Crosby, Sills, and Sash. About taking them windows apart and cleaning all them weep holes out, because that might have been the problem we had on that wall over there, that if the water wasn't getting out of the window, it was going in our building. I can show them to you out there if you want to look. So he never got back with me on the price. And I contacted Rehage Landscaping about slit seeding that patch of weeds out there in front of them along Willie Road and between it and the maintenance building. You know what I'm talking about? There's about a 50-foot
Yeah.
path that doesn't have a blade of grass in it. And that and the whole north side of the building where they had all their stuff sitting during the construction, there's no grass there either. And he said he thinks it does better when he does have a slit seeder, but he thinks it does better when he aerates and seeds. He said it'd be $500 if we want to do it for seed and doing the work. Which we can't go rent an aerator and buy the seed and,
Right.
but I've always had complaints. I think Brenda even told me it looked bad.
I'd say I don't have a problem with
No, that's not.
him
that's not
reseeding
out
that
of-
for
that's-
$500.
that's not
I
out of
mean,
line. 'Cause seed's
that's-
kind of expensive right now.
Yeah, I know it is.
so,
Has been. I ain't going nowhere.
And that's it. Oh, I had talked to Doug. Are you gonna plant flowers or,
Oh, yeah, I was gonna bring that up.
okay, all right, you can bring it up then.
I don't know if we should just this year have her do half the amount and then go from there, or what do you, I know you wanna just put like perennials and stuff.
well, we need to figure out a dollar amount, and yeah, I would almost go with perennials, so you plant them once and they last the whole season. And then that would be cheaper in the long run. So what did we spend last year? It was,
1,000 or 1,100.
I thought it was more than that.
Oh,
by
it
the time
was
she
more
got
last year. It was
done.
about 15, I think.
Yeah,
The year
so
Before it was 11.
I think I'd give her $1,000 budget and see where it goes, that
For perennials or annuals?
perennials.
Does she do a lot of perennials?
I think she did
Don't
mostly
know.
annuals.
I was just talking to her today because I gotta unload a truck for her tomorrow, Thursday, or Wednesday.
Yeah, find out if she does perennials.
Yeah. Because I think that way it's,
If she wants to
that or we just put in shrubbery and call it a day, and we don't have to do it every year. I mean, other than the pots out here.
I'll give you plants. I'll donate plants for the pods.
I mean, that, down there at the signs and all of our signage, we could put shrubbery, and then all we have to do is trim them every year and not do flowers. I mean, what's everybody think on that?
Well, the perennials, you'd get blooms at least. I'll think about it. But the pots, I'll take care of those.
Okay.
Find out if she does perennials. You can let me know or whatever.
What about the gaskets on the windows? Do you have to put new gaskets around the windows?
Jeremy, he said they are shrinking like that. He just put some,
Silicone?
silicone there, but he said it don't make no difference. The water that goes in there is supposed to go out them weep holes
Okay,
when it
alright.
does that. He says they all do it,
okay.
and he said that
Right.
water goes in and goes out them weep holes, but
So all the
We
weed
did-
holes were caulked?
we cleaned out a bunch of them there while we were looking at them. I stuck a thing in there, but he can take them apart and clean them out good, because there's bugs in there, dead bugs. and
Yeah, it's been 30 years since
That
anybody.
go into them weep holes.
Yeah.
Bugs can get in the weep holes and
So they should be cleaned at least every other year.
something.
Yeah, put
Well,
that on your maintenance board over there.
Shop back?
Yeah. So you want me to go down through all this stuff? Get approval or?
I guess,
All right. So everybody's got a copy of Brader's painting, and that's for the hallway. And that's to coat it with primer and then do 2 coats of paint over that. Are they doing, when I was reading this, are they just doing the one wall or are they doing more than one wall?
It said both on it, I thought.
Well, that's what I want to
It says
clarify.
A&N.
they're going south, coming back north around the bathrooms, coming up to the counter. And then the dark wall, he's gonna paint that. And we're gonna see if the color matches. If the color don't match, he's gonna put a black line above the door, just where it says zoning. Put a black line going up the door jamb
Yeah,
and going up so that zoning looks like a sign instead of just, you know what I mean?
okay.
He's gonna try to make it match, but if it don't match, he's gonna just break it with a black line.
So he's painting the whole hallway.
Yes.
Okay.
It said both walls in the end, I think.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to make sure. So it's a total of $1,640. I make a motion that we approve Brader Painting to repaint the hallway for $1,640.
I second it.
And on that, he's gonna primer it first, and then Rick's coming back to do more body work.
Yeah, in case it shows up
Yeah,
divots,
he's
yeah.
gonna do more body work, and
Okay,
he's gonna come back and paint.
Roll call.
Loman,
Yes.
Hyab,
yes.
Heis.
Yes.
All right, the next one is Stalin's Remodeling, and he's got a bid in here to put new fencing around the 2 cemeteries on New Haven Road down by 128 there in the bend. We're going to put new fencing around the old town hall. And am I missing anything? We're going to put in 2 48-inch gates down there at the corner cemeteries, 1 on each side. It's going to be the vinyl fencing that's up there at the Shaker. We're going to go with the 2 diagonal rails. And he's going to have the posts set in concrete. And then we're going to have 4 additional sections for future repairs in case somebody drives through it. And that was for a sum of $26,332.
And Dennis, on that, we got tear out the old.
Yeah, okay, yeah, they were gonna tear out the old,
They are or we are?
we are. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, it'll make it look a lot nicer.
No, it'd make everything look the same.
Yeah.
Okay, I move that we accept the Stalin's bid for putting in the fencing at the different locations, not to exceed $26,332.
I second it.
Roll call.
Continue to go along.
Should.
Probably. I mean, they're approving an expenditure. They're not signing a contract. Yeah, they're going to have to, and by then there'll be an idea of which account the funds will be certified out of. There's actually some looking into we have to do on that because of the fact, as you know, because of the fact that cemeteries are involved, there's a variety of different accounts that those funds can come out of. So. You didn't have $26,000 for fencing, but there most likely was. I mean, and I can look at the figures if I have to, but site improvements, facilities improvements, such like that. There is money approved typically for that. So, I mean, if there's an issue, there's always the April meeting. I didn't know that these particular items were coming on the agenda, so I'm not prepared to talk in extreme detail about it. But it's valid questions. But to my knowledge, there's no contract being signed without certification of funds. That's for sure. But they have to approve the idea of the expenditure due to the cost in order for it to go forward because of the amount being over $1,000 and not being operating expenses. So
None of that?
I'll look at it as soon as I can. If I see any problems, I mean, I'll let you guys know.
See if there's funding available through historical societies since those are historic cemeteries.
Are you talking about the Crosby Township Historical Society? Because they're always coming to us for money. They don't have any money. Mr. Heiss can verify that.
I don't know if those are considered, these are the ones on, I don't know if those are considered historic. I don't know.
I don't know how much red tape you have to go through.
It might be part of USAID.
Yeah, so, who knows? I always figure we take care of ourselves, and if there's something that comes up that we can take advantage of, we will, but on something like that, it's not that, to me, it's not that big of a deal, since we're
No,
dealing with different segments of the township, so.
yeah, there's no fence around it now, so basically, somewhat protecting it or making it look nicer.
Yeah. All right,
The grave is still gonna be there on the marker, so. Some of these marks that we replaced, we set, last year, 2 years ago, remember? Down there,
I don't remember that.
so they were falling over or something and they got, so,
did we vote on that?
I don't
Yep.
think we did.
not yet.
Okay.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
Next thing is the heater over there at Cochran and Harnest, I guess. Jim got a hold of me and I told him it needed to be fixed because we didn't know how much cold weather we were going to have yet, and we didn't want to take a gamble on the building freezing, so he contacted two of the trustees, and he was given the okay to go ahead and get Cochran in there to give us a bid and get the work started. So I'll make a motion that we pay Cochran Harness the $5,451 to install a new Resnor 150,000 BTU power venter unit heater, and with the installation and the removal of the old one.
What was that amount again?
$5,451.
Dennis, I was gone when they finished up, so I haven't talked to them to see what caused that one to go bad. They're supposed to check and try to figure it out. It shouldn't have went bad.
Right.
The heat exchange broke, cracked, and the heat exchange was
Warranty.
$4,500. Heat exchange was free, because $4,500
To
to take
replace.
the other one out and put the other one in, and it was like $700 or $800 to buy a whole new one.
So you
More.
they contacted the company, the Resner company or whatever?
Yeah, they contacted them, said they'll give you new heat changer, but take it out and put it back together was only like $700 less than buying a whole unit. And
So how long was that whole unit? Was that only warranted for a year or something, probably?
yeah. I looked at the,
Something was definitely wrong with that heater, because
It was only about 5 years old. That building was built in 2020, wasn't it?
the building was
2021?
built in, 3 years ago, when it was
Was it 3
done.
years
I don't
ago?
know when the heaters went in, but when I left a trustee, being a trustee for three years ago, and this was
Yeah.
basically done then. And so it's 3 years old, and they don't know why it went bad, but they usually say they last 20, 25 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know he wasn't lying, because I seen the flames.
no, it wasn't burning right, probably.
Yeah, I don't think it
And
was
they
installed
questioned-
right.
They questioned how much propane's in a tank, and we had 25%, but they got an automatic refill on that one tank's got a thing that, I guess it's by satellite,
Yeah, it
tells
phones
them.
it in when it gets down to a certain percentage.
But that tank, it's on is for this building. And I told them if they can get one, to put one on the other tank too. You know, so it knows, they said if the pressure in the tank ain't right, giving enough pressure to the heater, it'll cause it to sit up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That should have, is there a regulator where it goes into the building or anything?
Yeah.
There is?
So-
I was thinking both of those
should
tanks
be-
were hooked into tandem, but evidently they're not. One's for this building and one's for the shop. Huh. All right. Well, yeah, if it went down too low,
We don't know if it did or not.
right.
At some time. He said 25% should be good enough, but I was
Yeah.
thinking about calling Premier, because that's 250 gallon. 25% of 1,000, so.
Yeah,
I was gonna tell Premier, see if they could get us one of them automatics and don't let it get down below half or something.
yeah, okay. I don't know why they wouldn't put one on there, so. Okay,
So so you made a motion, right,
Yeah.
on that?
I don't think, that's all further it went.
Yeah.
I can second it.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
yes.
Heis.
Yes.
All right. the last thing we have is the road resurfacing at Fort Scott. Put bids out for 3 roads, Lodge, Chapel, and Knox. So he got 3 bids, and I'm gonna let you, because you know which way you're going with this. I'd have to figure out what you're doing here.
Got 3 bids, one from Cincinnati Asphalt, one from Westside Paving Contractors, and one from Rack and Ballar. I had them bid each road separate. So you could match up if we only want to do 1 road, or if we want to do 2 roads, or we want to do 3 roads. And the way I got it figured up, that if we do Chapel and Lodge, and then just do Chapel and Lodge, and I got you a piece of paper that tells you which contractor bid for them 2 streets total.
Okay,
That's a total for what Rack Ballar bid, Cincinnati Asphalt bid, and Westside bid for them 2 streets.
so Rack Belair is $68,700. Cincinnati Asphalt.
$68,070.
70.
Sorry to cut you off. You said 700. Just want to make sure
It
the
is
records.
700.
It is 700.
Oh, I was looking at, looks like Jim's writing where he put them all together at the same spot. Maybe Jim wrote it down
I
wrong.
wrote it wrong.
Come on, Jim, you're killing me. My bad.
All right. And Cincinnati Asphalt, $70,468, and West Side was $78,500. So for those 2 roads, the least amount of bid is $68,700, and that's for Rack Belair.
Right.
So, and when we bid these roads out separate, because our maximum amount of bid before we have to do public bidding is $77,250. So he bid them out that way because we didn't know what dollars we were going to look at. So this way we did get 3 bids, and they were under 77,000, so we didn't have to do public bidding. So Rack Belair is 68,700 for those 2 streets. And is there any further discussion?
I don't think you're allowed to separate those bids.
Would you like to go to the microphone? Because we're being recorded.
This might be a question for Mr. Trends, is I don't know if you're allowed to separate bids like that to go under the threshold. The Ohio Revised Code tells you, I think when you bid a project, these 3 streets, you have to bid all 3 of them in one package. You can't break it up to avoid going under the threshold. But that's something that your counsel would have to let you know. But from my recollection, I did a competitive bidding webinar, and that came out as you can't separate stuff to avoid the thresholds.
Aren't these all, I mean, these are separate bids, aren't they?
Yeah.
Well, they're all under it, so if you choose one of the 3 bids.
Well, we had a 3rd street that we had bid separately.
Yeah, he's referring to the fact that, so like,
And we don't have to do the 3rd street. We can just,
So
if
the
you,
current is just for the 2 streets.
right, this bid is.
Well, then, that's fine.
I mean,
If you just do the 2 streets.
If we just do the 2 streets.
Your bid is just for 2 streets, right?
no.
Well, we got another bid for another street, so we do have, this bid is for 2 streets, and then we have a separate bid for another street, that is in a different part of the subdivision.
Let me articulate it my way and see if it
Okay.
clarifies. So West Side paving contractors, one piece of paper. Now those streets are itemized on there. And if you put two of the items on the itemized quote, you're under that threshold. And what Mr. Carter is getting at is the fact that you're separating items out of something like this with the idea that you're going to remain under a threshold. Now, I don't think it's incurable, and I don't disagree with him personally from the chair I sit in. But what I think would be appropriate is to reach out to these contractors and solicit a bid for Lodge and Chapel roads. The thing is, I don't think it was necessarily wrong the way that it was done, because the trustees had no clue
How much it was going to come in.
what any of them were going to cost, or what any of these were going to come back as. And obviously, as we sit here, we have not gone through the public bidding process.
Right.
Now that there's some idea of what these things may cost, and there's the desire to get this thing moving, I think it would be appropriate to solicit bids from these contractors for just those two streets. And that would...
Isn't that what this is?
No, because this was a solicitation of a bid for 3 streets. Please tell us what they cost individually. I get the concept of it, but it has the look of doing exactly what Mr. Carter had voiced. And it's not a look that I like personally either.
Well, I agree with Brian. You can't split up a project if it's all one project just to stay under the threshold. I thought the threshold was 100,000. Am I right?
No, it's only
Huh?
77,250. I called up there at the OTA.
But the intent is to do all 3 roads at once?
We were going to if it was under the threshold, but since it isn't, we were just going to do what we could do.
Well, I mean,
without
if you-
public bidding, but if we have to put it out there we can scrap it and put it out there for all 3 roads and go through the bidding process again, but we gotta advertise it.
Right.
So
You
we
can do that.
we
You
can
can
do
also
that.
solicit, you can also just simply resolicit bids for the 2 roads in question.
Well, they're just gonna say, oh, you already got them.
Well, they may say that,
But we
but
would
if they
need
really
a
want
new-
the job, they'll give you a quote for those 2 streets. The problem is we can't control what the rules are. I mean, in
Well,
whether,
if
no
I
matter.
was gonna do it, I would take and solicit bids for all 3 roads. Well, that's what we want to get done this year.
You want all 3 roads
If we're
done
gonna-
at the same time
If
in
we're
the
gonna
same
have-
year.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's one project. So if that one project is gonna cost more than the threshold, I think you have to do public building. But if you're gonna do 2 of the 3, and then the 3rd street is gonna happen at another time, in other words, the project now is actually the project is for 2 roads, and we need bids for 2 roads, and that's one project, that's fine. But if the intent is to get all 3 roads done at the same time, I think if it's over the threshold, I think you have to do public bidding.
I think if we want to get that job done, we probably ought to just, since we know now that it's going to be over the threshold for all 3 roads, is that we start from scratch and do a public bid. Because then that way,
That way, no one can question what
Right.
you've done.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to do all 3 with,
Well, it
call,
makes
call
sense.
Call this an investigation, and if you want to do all three, obviously you have to go through the public bidding process.
Because if you're only going to do two, then they're going to pack up their equipment and take it back, and then they're going to come back at a different date next year and do that. It's going to
With a
cost
different bid.
more
Yeah.
because they got more transportation costs. So,
And you know, I'll also say because of the previous question, I very cursory looked through our appropriations numbers. I mean, you have $150,000 in your capital outlay set aside in the gasoline tax fund already appropriated, for your paving project for the year. So
Yeah.
you have the money appropriated. You just, if you want to go all three because of the amount that we're talking, you're just going to have to go through the public bidding process.
okay, well, probably be the best way to do it then, because
Yes.
I don't want to have somebody looking over my shoulder.
You
and-
don't want to be criticized for
Right.
that.
But we didn't have any idea what we were getting into, but, so we need to put that in the paper then, so, is that your job?
No, it's not my job to.
Whose
put the
job
bid
is
in.
it?
I mean, the description of it has to be drafted, but putting it in.
Well, I just wanted to make sure we
I mean,
got
there's
the-
things.
got the legalese.
So there's things that, I mean, whenever we've done building projects that have required the notice, the public notice, Mr. Trends, my recollection is you've done that. I don't recall ever putting notices of that type
agree.
out there.
I'll draft the notice itself, because it has to be publicized a certain number of weeks.
Yeah.
And you have to go through the time process of the whole thing.
My recollection is that you draft it and send it. They obviously send the bill to us. We pay it.
Okay. Give me the bid that you have, the estimate. I can use that.
Well, this is for the two, but he's got everything. No, we all got copies of this. Same, here's the,
I got anything you need right here, Alan. I got everything you need here.
Okay, I'll get that from
okay. All right. We covered everything, didn't we, Jim?
So,
Regarding, regarding the fencing, et cetera, I have to look in a little more detail on which funds. That's a unique project, which type of funds that can be paid out of. There's $150,000 in capital outlay in the gasoline tax. There's $25,000 in, I think it's improvement in sites in the general fund. So we have the current appropriations. I'm confident that we don't need any supplemental appropriations to do those projects. The one thing that I'll stress to all of the different departments is to not authorizing services that then come in an invoice is one thing, but to the trustees and department heads, don't sign any kind of contract, especially for a big number like that, without making sure from our end that the funds are certified in a purchase order first. That's all I'll say about that.
Anything else?
Yep. Done.
All right, Fire Chief David.
February run totals, 36 EMS details, 28 fire details, for a total of 64 in February. Silco came out in February for the township's yearly fire extinguisher service. No major concerns with that this year.
So what did you just check all the fire extinguishers?
Mr. Niehaus mentioned the Knox box has been installed on the community center. I want to thank Mr. Niehaus and his crew for installing that for us. Some additional work had to be done to the 2004 fire engine. Some of the valves had to be rebuilt or replaced. The valves that were rebuilt or replaced would not pass the vacuum and/or pressure test. I've attached an invoice to this report. On the work done, I'm asking for approval for $63.90 and 31 cents for the repairs of the valves. If you look, most of that was labor intensive due to pulling the valves out and putting them back in.
So it was already done?
It was already done.
And this is the old fire truck?
Correct.
And are we sure this is something we want to keep?
Yes, it'll be going in service here soon when the new one goes up for additional work and/or warranty work.
I'll make a motion to pay the $6,390.31.
Second?
Hold on a second, I gotta. I lost track of that number. What was the number exactly?
$63.90.
Okay, I see it. I see it.
31. Then it was Chuck and
Yeah,
seconded by Dennis.
I got that. Okay, I'm ready.
Roll call.
Loman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heis.
Yes.
And that's all I have.
Adding on to his, we took and had an addition onto the building of the fire department for new lockers. They came back with a bid of $8,100 to get the lockers and build them. I went on Granger and looked up the same lockers pretty much, and I could have saved a couple $1,000s. The fire chief has an account at Granger, and he's got them the 3,700.
I believe so, yes.
So from 8,100 to 3,700, and we're going to have them. They're going to get them in up there at Granger. They're back ordered right now, and then maintenance can send a truck up to pick them up. So we saved some money there. We had a add-on for a new flagpole. That was $1,800. Looking at the flagpole over there, all we need to do is replace the hardware. So I told them to deduct that. And so we're not getting a new flagpole either. We're going to use the flagpole that's there. And so I have a change order that I had to sign for Bob May, confirming those two changes. So just bring you up. And then nothing was moving. I talked to Bob before the weekend, and he was getting disgruntled because things weren't moving down at the building department for our permits. I called down there, and the person I called had to do with the floodplain. And Olivia called me back, and evidently they changed how they submitted. You had to do everything online, but they never told us that we had to do it online. So I got the particulars from Olivia. I told Bob that he needed to get a hold of his man. He had to get an account online, and she acted like things were progressing, but it wasn't done in the order that they now expected it to be done. So I got about 8 emails this afternoon on people contacting each other back and forth. So we should get some movement down at the building department. She said once when Hamilton County Health, because they condemned the septic system over there, and we have to put a mound system in. Once when that paperwork goes through, which I thought that was already in the works. I'm thinking in the next week or two, we should be getting something done, so, but we thought that a month ago. So we'll see what happens, but it sounded more promising today, getting a few things ironed out, so, you know, sometimes it just takes a third party to get in there and ask a question. I thought maybe it was that was being held up in the floodplain because FEMA thought we were using federal dollars, and if that was the case, you had to go through a whole lot more paperwork. And we're not using federal dollars to do it. And I voiced my concerns to Olivia, and she said, no, since we're using our own money, you know, that wasn't the thing. So should be progressing. We'll see what happens. That's all I have on the firehouse.
Anything else for Chief Davis? All right, Community Coordinator Brenda.
Thank you. I'm going to start out by giving this young lady a big hug. She's been here 1 year now and maybe a month. And I just think that congratulations. She's doing an amazingly great job. She loves the seniors, they love her, and we all love each other, and life's going really great. And it's just wonderful having you, and I just wanted to congratulate you on your 1 year.
Thank you.
The cake will be later. No. Well, it has been a busy month. I've been helping Dennis with the Crosby Township Policies and Procedures Manual, and that's been going on for a bit now with some editing and final touches. It's getting closer to being a completed project. In coordination with Jack Mangan, who is the Hamilton County Resource Community Coordinator, I hope to utilize the grant that we received last year for $5,000. It was kind of a nice grant because you didn't have to spend it all in the year that you received it. It rolls over. But my idea is to invite the community to a composting gardening seminar that will be presented by Hamilton County's Education and Outreach Area. No date's been set yet, but my idea is developing, I'd like to have a free seminar with some really good door prizes that are recommended by the yet unnamed presenter who they're going to choose to come out. But at any rate, I'd like to give that away as gifts to get residents started and to be an incentive excuse me, for the community to attend. And that meets the criteria for the grant. So that's where I'm headed. And I'll tell you more as it develops. A few of the highlights from the Senior Club includes, we hope to hear good news from Butler Rural Community Connection Grant very soon, I think within the next week or so. Our request is for the annual membership fee for musicians and programs that can come to our center and entertain our members. Last week at our senior meeting, 46 people attended a great lunch. We had fried chicken and enjoyed some live music from a husband and wife team called Newton and Frizzell. One comment related to our luncheon meal was that it was like eating those delicious home-cooked food dinners at the church. And so I thought that's a high compliment. April 1st, we're going to have a group called Health Rhythms, and they will be entertaining us. They're going to direct us in a drum circle with group drum activities, which I find interesting. And this will be their second time, but I was not able to attend the first one. I was sick. So, but everybody who came said, oh, we got to do it again. So this is our time to do it again. We will be going to the Valley House Restaurant in Harrison for dinner with friends. That's a once-a-month activity on Thursday, March 20th at 5 p.m. We have 32 people signed up at this point, so we're looking forward to a fun-filled dinner. We have reserved seats for a Cincinnati Reds game on Thursday, May 1st, where the Reds will be playing the Cardinals. The game starts at 12:40, and we appreciate very much the opportunity to use the CAS vans to make this happen, thanks to Margaret Gallagher of the Cincinnati Council on Aging. We can all go together, no parking issues, right to the door. It's perfect. So that's a very good, cool thing that we're now signing up for. And as Chuck mentioned earlier when he was talking, that there is a lady named Sharon Mitch, and she sent me an email. She is a member of the Governor Othniel Looker chapter NSDAR. She's serving as vice regent for the next 3 years, and she's a member of the Miamitown Historical Society. Now, what they're doing is they're trying to pull different townships together, and the way it's going to happen, like you said, is Friday, March 14th, and when I was speaking with the board from the Historical Society, I said, invited, any of those folks that might want to go to it. But it's going to be this coming Friday, and we're going to meet with Loretta Jennings, and she's the communication director from Hamilton County, to chat about the upcoming America 250 birthday celebration. They're going to meet at Kramer's Beer House in Miamitown at noon on Friday, and they are interested in coordinating the different townships and what ideas they might have so that there's not an overlap, and they'll have one calendar so that different townships can support and be a part of each other's things or together. It's just like a first step. And I think that Sharon said it best, and I'll read her sentence. It says, as we approach the monumental 250th anniversary of America in 2026, our community has a unique opportunity to come together and create a celebration that honors our nation's history while uniting our towns in a shared spirit of patriotism. So I'll let you know how it goes and the ideas that kind of blossom and bloom out of it. And that's the end of my report. You don't, wait a minute.
Anything else for
Time out,
Brenda?
1 second.
We talk about this thing.
No, I didn't talk about it.
So all you said. You're a policy person.
Okay, we're kind of chit-chatting here, just about, we had our first rental on Sunday, and what we put together today we thought might be helpful to whomever is a staff member who's at, comes over and is part of overseeing what's going on during that period of time, which was what we were supposed to do through maintenance. It's a maintenance thing. But anyway, we made a checklist of things that we felt was important. Then I'll type it up, and then that way the person who is overseeing things will kind of know what to look for, or what to check on, because we thought that might just be another helpful way to, quickly move down the list and see if everything is the way it should be, according to the meetings that I have with the people that are actually renting it, and I go over the rules and everything, and this is the checklist for it. So is that about what you were thinking?
Yeah, about the bottom one.
Oh, okay. At the bottom it says TV, question mark. Well, the question on the floor is, if a person is here, say they're in the conference room and it's a 4-hour event and you want it supervised or overseen, it might be nice for that person to be able to watch TV or something if we had a television in the conference room. Or a port, I'll say it doesn't have to be the conference room, but something available that they might be able to be past their time. Mm-hmm. I think Jim suggested to the person who was in there, you surely will find a book on the shelf you haven't read yet. I'm not sure how far that went, but
He just laughed.
and the other person just laughed. So anyway,
I mean, is
it's
it
just a good thought.
from somebody just sat in that room?
Do we need someone here during an event?
That's what you said.
I don't think we do.
Okay, well, maybe that's something to be, discussed among you as you look over the book, and then we'll try to work with whatever the outcome is. How about we say it that way?
That's what was said at that last meeting.
Right, but I'm just saying, if they want to talk about it, we're still in we haven't finalized the book stage, then you can come up with a
Yeah, look at
plan.
the policy on the hall rental. And what I'm thinking is that when you're renting the building out like that and there's nobody from the township here, if something happens, then nobody's here to respond right away. Like a toilet flooding over or something happened in the kitchen or somebody gets in the...
They would have a number contact.
Yeah, but, I'm just thinking, protect your property here, you ought to have somebody here. But if you don't think so, that's my personal opinion.
I mean, I think if someone opens up and then whenever they come to lock up, have that checklist, and then if there's an issue, you immediately call that contact and say, you need to come back here, we got a problem with blah, 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 or whatever, but,
I
I
think
mean,
my,
most of your rentals are gonna be like baby showers and things. I don't think you're gonna have a rowdy bunch of
well,
people
I'm just
there.
looking at, you know, we didn't want to pass out any more keys because you never know where your
Right.
keys go.
Well, I don't want keys passed out, but
So, you know, I think about it. If we don't need anybody here, I was just thinking that it'd be nice if somebody was here in case something went wrong. You had a person of staff that was here at the time, so.
Green Township requires one of their staff to be at a function at Nathaniel Green
And probably Corrine Township probably does too, so,
for the duration of the event.
yeah.
I did hear that Harrison did not.
yeah, they
to-
don't.
They don't, yeah.
I
So
can find out
it's
if
probably a
Whitewater
matter of
does.
preference and what you have, how you feel about protecting what you have, I guess, probably.
So,
I mean, it wouldn't be bad if the guy, you could go over, I could give him a job over there or something to do.
right.
He'd be right in the other building. You know what I mean? And
And if he was over there, at least somebody could go over and get him if something was
Yeah.
happening. I mean, you know, think about it and, we'll discuss it
It's
when
just-
we,
then you're sitting
Go
here for
through the
3 or
book.
4 hours in that room, just,
I know, I thought about it too. He don't have anything to do if he doesn't read books.
he did say he was fed good.
Huh?
But he did say the food was very good.
Oh, he was
He
fed
might-
well.
First one in line.
All right. The only thing I have for Brenda, and Alan, this will bring you in, is we talked about last Christmas about Kringle Chest operating as a separate charity. I think we ought to take and Crosby Township ought to separate ourselves from the Kringle Chest and make it a standalone entity.
Get its own tax ID and
Yeah, right.
get exemption from the IRS. I mean, sure, you can do that.
I would think it would,
Right, and remember that the Kringle Chest is really not this is the fire department, this is where it would, that's a funding that we have through, or an account we have through you, that back when Bruce Downer passed it on to me, that was just an account for us to use. We don't have an account or anything that's the Kringle Chest account. I just want to make that clear. You may already know that.
Yeah, we understand that. The point is, it should.
Right, and that's fine too. I wasn't sure if Alan had, I know you do.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much information he had.
Actually,
You have a separate entity, separate officers, the whole deal.
there is, we can rename that account. There's an account strictly for that, which we don't touch. But it does say Crosby Township Fire Auxiliary, so we can rename it to Kringle Chest. If
but
that
do we
helps.
want to run that through our books every year? I mean,
We don't, well, that account, we don't. I mean, the
We
fire, no.
so I'm just, thinking that we'd have it would be clean that way, but if you don't have a problem with renaming that account and they don't need it, that's beyond my pay grade.
I,
It's a lot of complication. I mean, you're gonna have to create, I guess, an entity with nonprofit and then seek a tax ID number if you're,
well,
your own board and.
well, the problem is, the issue that I have is, it's funded through, donations, and I don't want there to be any appearance that those donations should be within the township's financial umbrella. And the way in the past around that, it was kind of it went through the fire auxiliary account, which exists because of the fact that it in a past time it was used for something totally different, and it just kind of already exists and it's able to be used. So it's not like, I don't know. I don't want it the appearance either that maybe what I'm saying is I don't want it the appearance that it ought to be accounted for in the township's finances, and it shouldn't be. I mean, it shouldn't be.
What are we talking about? It goes through there.
It currently has, I
believe around 22,000
I
right
said
now.
21, I was going to say, what, 22,000? It's because it's kind of an interesting thing. We don't solicit anything, we ask for help with it, and and we get more kids. Everything we do, we end up with more money than we ever thought we would have, and so it's just being saved.
Are we advertising that it's a tax deductible donation?
We're just saying, would you like to donate to the Kringle chest, if that's what you mean? I don't think
Oh,
I
it's
had
never-
that wording of
it's
tax.
never spelled out.
Advertising that
No.
It's tax deductible.
It's in the past, we even this is like some trustees back. I don't think it's a good thing, for it to build up. And so what we did in the past was we set up a mini grant program that people in the community and some organizations filled out the paperwork and things about what I learned about grants, and then they would ask, like a certain church needed backpacks or whatever. They would fill out the paperwork. I took it to the trustees. The trustees looked it over and approved what they felt was a good way, and then we just worked it right back down, and now it's grown up again. That's kind of how it happens.
Yeah. And that's,
We used it always for the kids. Let me say
Yeah.
this, and it was, and when too much is in there, and I think the thought was when the reindeer romp was going on, that's how a lot of the money was generated in the beginning, and then when that fell off, the trustees at that point thought, well, we at least better keep enough money in that account to feed 2 or 3 years worth of children being provided for, and that's what so that's probably about $10,000-$12,000 because it goes down. It takes $4,000 or $5,000 a year to take care of it.
What's the connection with the fire department?
Well, that originally, and Jason's always overlooked it, and he brings me the
We kind of started the reindeer romp, the race, and the gifts for the underprivileged.
But it
kids.
started way before. I don't know if you know, it was, I think, the ladies of the fire department. Do you ever hear that story?
I have not.
Okay. The story that was told to me was that there was a women's auxiliary that tried to they had bake sales and things. I'm talking about when it was in New Baltimore. And so this
This
account
goes back
was
to the
very,
volunteer
very
fire
old.
department days.
Right. It was very old. And at one point, it was used by the fire department because that was long before anybody was doing the Kringle chest. That's just, just a more recent thing. So it's really been a blessing. I can't even explain why we keep getting more kids. Inflation goes up, and I always have more money left over and I don't, I never turn anything away. We provide all this stuff, and you go, wow, God, this is amazing. That's just how I feel.
Are we using the township's tax ID number for the account?
It's on the fire department's.
The fire department's
Correct.
tax
It's
ID
all
number?
set up under them
I
in a
believe
normal
so.
way. It does.
So I had the idea of setting up a totally different 501c3 because of the questions you're asking and the answers you're getting, and it's not like anybody is doing anything really wrong.
Right.
But when we're talking about this amount of money and the great things that are happening at this point, I don't see any reason why it can't sit alone as a separate entity, even if it means that there's a board and the current community coordinator is the president of that board, and that board includes the fire chief and one of the trustees or whatever. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But what I don't want as the fiscal officer is questions from auditors about the history of an account that is separate from township accounting, where the trustees are giving input on, the distribution of those funds. I actually want the board of this hypothetical 501c3 to have the freedom to do whatever reasonable good purpose they want to do outside. And I want the trustees to be able to just show up and wrap presents and participate and have fun, and them not have a say in anything about it, and me be able to say, I don't know anything. I wrap presents. I'm with the trustees. I show up and I wrap gifts and all that. And I want them to be able to do that. And I don't think it would even be an inappropriate township expense for the township's attorney to facilitate in the setting up of that process. Although it seems like there's the crazy thing about this is that account has been in existence for so long.
Oh, yeah.
Under an organization that doesn't even exist anymore.
That's right.
That, you know, I guess as long as the signers
It's
of the
grandfathered
account,
in.
I mean, as long as the current signers of the account authorize those funds to then fund the 501c3 at the outset, I
Who are
guess
the
we're
current
good.
signers?
Excuse me?
Who are the current signers on, who writes the checks and signs them?
I endorse them. Is that
Okay.
what you mean? I didn't write.
So when, well, they come in,
It
and then you
says,
deposit them,
right, it says fire department auxiliary. There's like a 4
but
or
if there's
5.
a payout, if you want to pay out
Who
money,
can write checks out of that
who can
account?
write the check?
I'm the only one who ever has since
You're the-
Bruce Downer.
You're the
had it.
only one that has signatory, okay.
But
I don't know. No, I would guess. I don't know what the bank has.
But
I would
you're- yeah,
guess that the
you're going to
chief
want to
does.
investigate that because it could be Bruce Downard.
Oh,
It
yeah,
could
it's Bruce
be
Downer.
someone who's dead.
Right.
Bruce Downer did have that, but you know he's been
What bank is it in?
first.
First Financial.
And I'm really fine. It doesn't even matter to me how how this. I'm not. I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm fine with however it turns out. It's not a problem.
Would you find out who's got the signatories on the account?
I sure would. But in the only two I ever know, I know that Bruce Downer did
Yeah.
at one point.
But who do they have on now? Who's-
Correct. I hear what you're saying, and I will ask.
Go on there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably me if I have access to our account, house fund account, through the same bank. We went Downer and I, and swapped things over when he retired. So it's
yeah,
probably
Davis
me
may be
and
on it.
That's what I would guess.
or Brenda. and
Let me
I.
know what you find out.
Okay.
Maybe get a copy of the
Okay.
pages from First Financial.
Got it.
And this is the way when I thought about this, just so everybody is aware and anybody who may be watching, it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I mean, I think about things like the Marine Corps does Toys for Tots. You know what I mean? You have, publicly involved people that are participating in a thing, but the thing itself is its own entity. Right. And can manage its own funds. That's kind of like a bigger version of what my vision was for this and how to make it better and even more independent. And I think it would be better all around if it was restructured.
You get like a monthly.
Kind of like a
bank-
Harrison Mayor's Fund, and a smaller.
You get a bank statement every month.
You're right. It always
It might
goes to
say
Jason.
on there what
yeah.
names are on it. Sometimes they
Probably
say.
not.
Oh, they don't.
It's mailed to the fire department, and then he brings it over once a month.
Okay, well, we get the ball rolling on that.
Okay.
I'll go down tomorrow.
So is that it for Brenda?
Yeah.
Forgot where we were here. All right, Matt, fiscal officer.
All right. Okay. I distributed a written fiscal officer report. I have a copy of that for the minutes, if you wouldn't mind signing that. One item still being worked on for February is still being worked on for the February bank reconciliation. We know exactly what it is. I just have to figure out the proper accounting for it before the amounts can be reconciled, and it has to do with state tax payments that were made. January's bank reconciliation is included. That had not been able to be completed yet at the February meeting. the current audit has, I can't remember if this came up last meeting or at this point or not, but the current audit for the state has been paused due to their schedule demands. There is a new document that it looks like, I don't think there's any question about it. I'm going to sign it, but I'm going to provide a copy to Chief Davis for any firefighters that want to look at it. Essentially, it's a new version of like the plan agreement for your deferred compensation accounts. And so it's just basically, it just brings it into compliance, according to their email, with some new IRS regulations and such. But I've got to sign that electronically because it's my name that's kind of on the account in general for the township, but it's the individual firefighters at their choice that put into that. Jamie has set up a free Amazon Business Prime account for the township that includes our tax exempt number. So it should facilitate tax exempt purchasing for goods, which I know is something that's came up repeatedly in the past and that we've been wanting, for the ability to shop for the best deal on things. I believe she's communicated. Did she communicate with you about that, Chief?
Yes.
Okay, and I think Brenda as well, and Jim. I'm sure that there's some things that might benefit some of your purchasing. I would just get in contact with Jamie about that on how you might go about doing that, as far as supply, just regular supplies and anything you might need. So that was kind of a pleasant surprise. I was glad to hear that. A couple of things I wanted to alert the trustees to and department heads. Our dental, I know there's not a ton of, I don't believe, like dental insurance options out there. As this year has started, our dental insurance premiums for the firefighters have gone up 50%. Our monthly invoice, it's gone from about now, and we may have an extra person or two, but just gross numbers. It's gone from like $500 a month to like $782 per month, something like that. And lumped in with that, it's not related, but it's kind of purchasing related. Our ProSource copier invoices increased significantly as well. Jamie has told me because she had gone through and was paying bills and such. And we may need to go through a process where we look into possible other options for that too as well. So I kind of lumped those together to say, from an HR perspective and from a purchasing perspective, I know that Dennis brought it up in kind of other concerns or new business last month, but I would reiterate my request to the trustees to please hire a township administrator, because these kind of items are best suited for someone who works with the trustees' authority to investigate these things. Because Chief Davis is the one that, to this point, finds the insurance policies for his guys. But that's not what, I mean, no offense, Chief. Please, anybody watching, I'm not slamming Chief Davis here. This is not a bad thing about him. He's not paid to shop for insurance. He's paid to manage firefighters and keep the community safe. And, and most organizations that are the size that we have someone in place where it's kind of part of their job description, instead of individual departments, figure this out, find this thing. I think that person is out there, and I think that it would be helpful to the township, and I think that the township would realize many benefits, both financially and from a service perspective to the community if we took real strides into making that happen.
Just for your information, I handed the trustees a job description for a township
Fantastic.
administrator. I looked at 2 other townships besides our own. I gave them a copy of our current one, and then I crafted a new one to get feedback, so I can,
Sorry if I jumped the gun on any new business.
well, it's a good time to put it in.
Yeah.
So,
That's all I have
We
for my
can-
report, by the way.
I make sure you get a copy of that too, because I'd like to have your input on that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that. I think there's a lot of, I mean, like I kind of mentioned, there's stuff that might go under the umbrella of that position that naturally flows to all different kinds of people here, and obviously I'm one that gets a lot of it. So yeah, I appreciate that. That's all I have, guys. Thanks.
Thanks, Matt. Zoning, Rick?
Pass that down to him.
We had 5 permits issued last month. 1 deck, 1 addition, 1 new single-family home, 1 lot consolidation, and 1 accessory building. And I've put into the trustees' mailboxes the new copy of the zoning book.
No?
You haven't got one already, and Alan has one also.
I do. And I emailed the first page, after I recorded it, everybody should have that first page that shows the recorder stamp on it. I think I copied you, so you know the date it was, the new book was recorded in the Hamilton County Recorder's Office. Check your emails. I think you were on that. Because I think I sent it to Brenda and you and the zoning commission chairman and the BZA.
So it's the date that you recorded it to the county? Or just said,
I took the first page.
you put his
that
mic
shows
down?
The date of recording,
His
so
mic.
that all of you had it.
Alan's mic.
No.
I emailed just the first page of the book, the cover page, that has the recorder stamp on it. So you know the date that it was actually in the recorder's office.
When did you email? I don't think I got it.
I'll check again, but I emailed it out. So. Okay.
Matt, did you want a copy of the zoning book?
Probably a good idea. Well, I think what the records retention policy that's gonna be proposed for passage is gonna indicate that for those kind of records, that those will be maintained in your office. I think, is that right?
I can't remember.
Yes.
And if I need one, I'll come to you.
Okay, okay.
Thanks.
That's all I have.
So you've probably been asking, so that Rumpke, are they going to store all their portalets now at that property, or?
The letter's going out tonight. Diane's just putting it together, telling them to remove them. They can't have outdoor storage there, and we're letting them know. We'll just have to. So I've given them till the end of March to move them.
I thought maybe that was a new rest stop.
Yeah, many.
Since you mentioned Rumpke, are you going to look at how many dumpsters we're going to need and order them for May 1st when our, so I forgot to bring that up to you.
I can do that.
Yeah, okay.
Are you going to put them where they were last year? Or
Yeah, yeah, that's the new location is over there. That gets them out of here.
and save our blacktop?
Yep.
And where is that new location?
Just
Over
By
by
the
the ball,
field.
Other side of the ball field, where the other driveway is. We had that blacktop from the road grindings laid down there.
And if we ever do the streets, we're gonna put, the grindings are gonna go up here. on it, make our parking lot bigger, then we can just do the,
Gonna put a parking lot on the end of the maintenance building.
and that way we could do the cleanup days there and we're at the shop instead of wherever.
Also, when I was talking to the Rumpke guys, when they were hauling the dumpsters away, you do not have to put planks down. They said just put them down on the blacktop there. So,
While we're on Rick's subject, I'd like to thank Rick for taking over the job on that hallway.
He's trying to get your job.
it looks pretty good,
It
Rick.
looks
I doubt
good.
if you'll be putting much in after they paint it.
He won't talk to me no more.
Dennis, regarding the dumpsters, are they saying that the dumpsters should roll right onto the asphalt out here and that it won't harm it at all?
Oh, down there.
The
They don't-
grindings.
they don't-
They're putting them over by the ball.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like the actual dumpsters in the parking lot here.
No, down there where we come in. down the
Last year
gate
where they
down
were
there.
that, we put planks down and the guys down there said that they don't need the planks.
Okay.
Because their truck, when they lift it up and start putting it on and
Okay.
winching it up, it pulls the truck underneath of them.
I was out of town last year. Were the dumpsters way down there?
Yeah.
Okay.
By where the
Okay.
Over by the-
winches are.
I was remembering the year before that when they were right here on the parking
No.
lot. And I was like, man, we just put that new asphalt
Yeah,
down. Okay.
No. So, no, it worked out pretty good too.
Yeah.
being down
Okay.
there.
Good.
So, and we could take some grindings and widen that just a little more down there too.
Yeah.
So, in case you need a home for grindings and you can widen that out a little more. All right.
Anything else for Rick? All right, old business. I don't really have anything. You went over what I've had. So, Dennis,
Pretty much everything is done for me.
Chuck,
None.
and then new, I just had that Energy Alliance. That's due in June, and we don't have a figure yet because things are pretty volatile, but unfortunately, they're going to be going up probably significantly. And since we only have a meeting once a month, and I think you might have done this last year, is that you allowed me to sign for it so that it could be done in between the meetings. She did say it if Duke has a better rate than they can provide, that they would just kick it back to Duke. So, that's on the table if you want to do that, but I would be willing to sign for it if you so want me to.
You said it's not till June.
It's due in June. But I don't know how close it'll be to that they'll have figures, because things are so volatile right now. And it's only a 1-year it's something we have to renew every year.
Right. And
Yeah.
is this a resolution that they gave us, or?
Well, that's coming from Kathy Dieter's office today. This afternoon when I called her, it was
Okay.
about 3 o'clock. The thing I was going to mention that they need the time for is they need to get letters out to the residents so they can see the fact and then opt out or stay in. And before the window of time closes, I think, before the contract ends. That's where they're hurrying. Why they're hurrying.
So,
I think the paragraph from the gentleman,
if we
I just read his name for the first
have a
time today.
resolution, all the township trustees have to sign it, not just, if we give Doug the authority to sign it, it's not like it's a contract, this is a resolution.
Correct. Yeah, because you've got it all. This has to be signed by the trustees. So it's not the contract, you're right. We need a resolution number. We need a motion.
So, do we want to,
Do I do that tonight?
well, they got it dated for today, so,
Gotta do it.
so.
So,
You got a
so
copy
what
of
does
this?
What's exactly
I-
does it say?
I don't
Huh?
Oh,
know.
I see it now.
Here, pass that down, Matt.
'Cause we just got this.
You know, Kathy expressed her apologies for the late notice. and the way, you know, the
Can we
short
vote on
time.
it
She
in
didn't,
April, or-
excuse me?
What if they did an April meeting?
Well, I guess if you choose not to, they'll have to figure out what to do about it. I can't really answer for them, and I think that they were wanting to be able to they have their certain timeline that they want to get the information out and, you know, to the residents. But they don't, what the problem is they don't have the numbers back from the companies they sent out the request for. They haven't come back to them. And that really put them into a bind.
Oh, yeah.
And so they couldn't, all they could say was, if there's any way that someone can have the authority to approve it when it comes, if we like it and want it, that's what she's needing, is someone, however we designate a person or the whole group or whatever. Or then you may have to do it, she said maybe you have to do a special meeting. She wasn't real sure.
So all this does is authorize, it does the same thing that it did last year. All this does is authorize, it's signed by the 3 trustees, but it's not a contract, but it authorizes Mr. Lohman
Correct.
to sign into the opt-in out electric agreement,
That's right.
which is what we've done in the past. I mean,
Well, I never read it, so if that's,
The sooner the
if-
better.
so if that's all it is giving Doug the authority to be the signer, well, then we should do it tonight.
That was the intent, that they tried to put that together in just a few hours, because I didn't get that email till 3 o'clock this afternoon to even get that started, and that's why I talked with her.
Township Board President is hereby authorized and directed to enter into an opt-out. So it's authorizing Doug to do that.
and I'm highly confident that this resolution essentially would maintain status quo of
All right,
what we've done in the past.
There you go, pass that back down.
May I step out and get that number?
Sure.
I wasn't prepared with that. Sorry.
My only new business was the township administrator stuff that I gave you, so that's all the new business I had.
I know we talked a while back, maybe last year, about because isn't it through our insurance wants drug testing for employees? I did go to the emergency place by Bob Evans today and asked them. They're no longer, what is it, emergency, what's it called? What?
No, are you thinking of the PAC Center?
No, the one right by Bob Evans. What are those called? Urgent care. It's no longer an urgent care. It's now like a doctor's office.
You have to buy into it.
Right.
And then you can see them at any
So
time.
they don't do that there. But then I went to the one over by Chandler's, and they do it for $50. And you don't even need an appointment. They don't even do appointments. They said you just walk. You just come in and do it. They had a $50 one and a $75 one, but the $50 one was more than what we would need.
Resolution 10-2025.
Does he has a problem or
Which one are we using as a original? You want to use this one here I have?
That's fine.
Yeah.
does he has a drug problem? Or he went down
I move that we adopt resolution 20-10.
10-20.
10-2025.
2025.
Reverse that.
Okay.
And that is the resolution authorizing Township Board President to enter into an electrical aggregation agreement with an electric supplier recommended by Energy Alliances Incorporated, dispensing with the second reading and declaring an emergency. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
I second it.
Roll call.
Lohman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
All right, I will pass the original for signature.
That's all I had, and then Dennis, while you were gone, just said that he had given us the information for the administrator. And you said you had nothing else?
Right.
And Chuck, do you have any new business?
Yeah, I don't know if you want, support state issues number 2. I think y'all got a copy of that.
Oh,
Oh. Yeah. What is that? Can you explain what it's about?
Yeah, it's the state capital improvement program, was a SCIP. It's a state local government partnership program that funds local and national projects and communities across Ohio. This
Does not raise taxes, it says.
yeah, the vote are gonna vote on this on May the 6th, which is 2 months away. So they
Primary, probably
So-
election.
basically they want the township and the city to pass resolution supporting state issue 2 that give money to different projects in Ohio. I think it. I say I guess it's been around 40 years. It provided over $7 billion for improvement to keep Ohio roads and bridges safe and in good condition. For resident first responders and all motorists traveling on Ohio roadway, and to improve local wastewater treatment, water supplies, and stormwater infrastructure in all 88 Ohio counties. So, so you want to do anything about this?
Well, I mean, you just put it out there so anybody watching can make up their.
Yeah, we could do it in April too if you want.
I think what Chuck is saying is Ohio Township Association, it looks like, sent this out.
Right.
And sent it out in the form of a proposed resolution where they're apparently trying to gather a groundswell of support amongst boards of trustees to basically say, see all of these townships that support this thing, whatever this thing is.
yeah.
So what it is a request for you essentially to take a political stance on a thing that you're just now hearing about and have not looked into and know nothing about.
Well, we can address it at our next meeting.
We'll table it till April.
I mean, I think it's something, I can give you a resolution number, but I think it's something you guys definitely are going to want to look into how you individually feel about it.
Yeah, I think y'all got copies of this.
Right.
Yeah, so.
It's obviously endorsed by the OTA.
So I
for what it's
guess
worth.
it come up every so often that the voters vote on this, every so many years, so. So they said it's been going on over 40 years, so.
They can have a formal resolution printed up at the next meeting, and that way, because what you got right there is just a sample.
Yeah. You got
I would,
you got copy?
I mean, it would. the
It's not my
township-
thing, man. It's your thing. I mean, I don't vote on it.
Well, I know, but I thought it was just,
Was this is
They
this
get a
gonna be in
sample.
a general election, or is this a state voting on it?
The state
No,
will vote on it. It's going to be for the general election.
Oh, it is in the general on May
well,
6th.
special election May the 6th.
Is it going to be on the special election? I know it's coming up, so.
Okay.
Yeah, it coming up on May the
Great,
6th.
we'll talk about it in April then.
What's that thing called? What is it? Issue something?
Issue 2.
Yeah, they gave us a sample.
Okay.
See, I print this off, and that's what it says, so.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else, Chuck?
No, so I guess we can think about it, and
It was.
if we're interested in going into.
He started going all this, there ain't no 35-minute meeting tonight.
All right, any other concerns? Next regular business meeting, April 14th, 2025 at 7 PM. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Loman,
Yes.
Hyam,
Yes.
Heiss.
Yes.
8:55.